real success stories told by the people who lived them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the Hitstreak.
Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and I got an extra special treat for you in the Hit Lab with me today. And true story, I played on a baseball team with this gentleman when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I can't tell you if I've actually seen him in person, face to face, since that time. It's been a minute, and so I'm really excited for today, folks. Welcome with me, the senior loan officer, and team lead of the Refined Mortgage Group of CMG Home Loans, Jeff Suter. What's happening, baby?
What's going on, brother, man? Look at this building. Look at this. Man, what a fantastic job.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Yes. You made me blush. I need to make you blush.
So I think I'm just always pink. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing of the red hair. Like I'm just pink all the time. So I get a sunburn taking out the garbage.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough.
Well, dude, I mentioned before, we spent a lot of time together on the baseball diamond when we were young. But a lot's gone on, man. We've gone off and built careers, built families. You're married. Got a couple girls, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about it.
Man, got the most beautiful wife. She's the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. And then I've got 15-year-old Addison, daughter,
okay,
and 8-year-old daughter, Emma. Just two phenomenal human beings. Such blessings in my life, in Autumn's life. Just, man, it's awesome. I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, dude, I've got the 13-year-old son, but I've got a 1.5-year-old daughter. So what's in store for old Nick when it comes to raising ladies? Because I haven't raised one before.
You know, they're awesome. We're trying to have a third.
Okay.
Man, I hope she don't get mad at me for saying that. but the bottom line is we're shooting for a third. And, man, I'm not going to be upset if it's a third girl. But you're going to have some fun. There's going to be some attitude. It's going to duplicate your wife. I mean, they're going to be a spitting image.
Well, shoot, that's good for me. My wife don't have much attitude. It's rare.
I would agree with that statement.
Well, it's I've heard all the stories from all the guys and all that kind of stuff. What I will tell you, so for us, we were trying for years, better part of over half a decade, and we had set a deadline for her 40th birthday. We were done trying. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if I thought back that I had already scheduled my procedure to be done when we found out that she was coming. We were actually in Vegas to be on the Dropping Bombs podcast with Brad Lee when we figured it out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, but it was like literally like a month before her 40th birthday that we found out.
Wow. That's God's timing right there, brother.
That's right.
That's God's timing.
That's right. But what I will tell you is it's way different doing it at this age. And, she's all over the place. Everything's hidden from us at this point. And you're way smarter, so a lot of things are easier. But I can definitely feel it's the 12-year gap.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's my fear, right? I'm 42. We're same age. Mm-hmm. We're both 42. And not currently pregnant.
Yeah.
So the longer that takes, the harder it's going to be on me. I mean, it's still a great time, but the gap's just going to keep widening.
That's right.
And that's another reason why I wouldn't necessarily be upset with having another girl.
Yeah.
My throwing arm's not going to be what it once was.
That's right.
My jump shot's not going to be what it once was. So yeah, man, to bring on another girl. God bless me with another female.
I love it. Well, dude, your story's pretty awesome. But I wanted to. I love what you're doing with your brand about being refined.
Absolutely.
Right. So, talk to me about how that came about.
Yeah. So, the definition of refined is to remove the impurities.
Gotcha.
we're always chasing dreams, trying to be better. At least we should be. If we're not, we should be, right? Constantly trying to improve, get better, day after day after day, step by step. And ultimately, you're aiming to be refined. You're trying to remove the impurities from your life, whether that's laziness, whether that's bad eating habits, just whatever that looks like for you on an everyday basis. So sitting down with the wife, I said, what can we name our mortgage team that's going to mean something? A lot of people go with it. It could have easily been Suter's mortgage team.
Sure.
But I want people to know what we stand for as a group, our core values, which is to get better every day and, chase that dream of just removing all of our impurities, especially in the mortgage process.
Right. Man, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So we played ball together at a very young age. I kind of kept up with everybody. We ran in a lot of the same circles,
Absolutely.
Even through high school and everything. Tell me what you did. So you went to Belmont, right?
Went to Belmont for one semester. It just, school, college thing wasn't for me. That, and I couldn't afford it. I'll never forget standing in line to register for my second semester and calling mom and saying, hey, they're not going to let me register unless we pay. Well, how much is it? About $16,000. Well, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have it either.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that road.
Gotcha.
Even I could have transferred to MTSU, but I wasn't given the best effort at Belmont as it stood.
Gotcha.
So why go in further debt? So, went to work at Sysco in the freezer. Good
Dang.
times.
Man.
15 degrees, 5
Folks,
nights a week.
Folks, check it out. Like a lot of you are going to it doesn't really matter where you start. It's where you finish, right? We all start from different places. And as you guys are going to learn in a minute with the success that Jeff has accomplished with his family and his team, it's really cool knowing where he just is talking about where he just started, right? So go on ahead.
Yeah. So, dropped out of Belmont, went to work in the freezer at Sysco Nashville, 5 nights a week, night shift. I learned real quick in that freezer that there were multiple kinds of people in life, especially in the work life. There were the ones that just show up to make the money, and then there's those that show up to do the best job they can possibly do. And when you walk in that freezer and it's 15 degrees under the blower, sub-zero, you had 2 choices to make: freeze or work hard enough to sweat.
There you go.
I went with the sweat option.
Gotcha.
I pulled over 1 million cases with 0 mistakes.
Wow.
I don't know that anybody's done it since. I don't stick around to check them stats, but I do still have some upper management friends up there. Left there to
How long were you there?
So I was in the warehouse for 7 years, night warehouse for 7 years.
Did you ever, like, when you were there in the moment, did you ever say, should I go back to college?
Nah, never crossed my mind. Bought my first home at 20, so I was making good money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For that age, I was making really good money. And even today, still for a lot of people, good money. Enough to buy a home, car, and really truly dig your feet in and start a life. So no, it never crossed my mind.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's the night shift, right? So is it like literally the graveyard shift?
Graveyard.
So somebody told me the other day, they were like, you know why they call it the graveyard shift, don't you? And I was like, why is that? And they're like, because it puts you in the ground.
It puts you in the ground.
That's right. So you literally, a lot of people might look at that, and like you just said it, you made enough money to buy a house, 7 years of forward movement in what some would consider one of the worst scenarios to do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So that exactly what you were just saying was, where you go to die was part of my motivation. My father worked nights his entire career. As far back as I can remember, he was graveyard shift. And that's something I didn't want for myself or my children. So when the mother of my children got pregnant with Addi, I made a decision. It's time for a change. I don't want to die on this graveyard shift. So the CEO came in one night and asked me, how everything was going. I said, well, we got something to talk about. I'm about to turn in my notice. And he said, no, you're not. He said, yeah, Sysco needs you, regardless of what that looks like. And I said, well, there's not I don't have the seniority to make it to day shift. He said, what about sales?
Okay.
I said, well, I don't know anything about sales. I know how to work in a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So he put me in a car for a week with one of their top sales guys. And to say this man made it look easy would be an understatement. He made it look easy.
Gotcha.
But into sales I went. So I started my sales career at Sysco Nashville in the Murfreesboro area,
Okay.
which is where I'm now grounded, and was tasked with probably some of the hardest tasks that a salesperson could experience. There were already 4 salesmen for Sysco in Murfreesboro.
Holy
so
cow.
I was number 5.
So it's crowded.
It was crowded, brother, and not to mention the competition.
Yep.
Super crowded. But I landed some. World Outreach Church was a big customer.
Okay.
Slick Pig was a phenomenal customer. So I landed some pretty big accounts for Sysco.
Right on. All right. Go on.
From there, I had a cousin offer me the opportunity to open a construction business, an insurance restoration business.
How long were you in the sales position before you did this?
5 years.
5 more years. So 12 years.
Almost 13 years at Sysco.
Dude, that's a career.
It is a career.
Holy
yeah.
cow. Okay.
And by this time, I'm 27.
Gotcha.
28. So yeah, 12 years. Shane asked me, hey, he was doing insurance restoration on the side,
Gotcha.
wanted to take it full time, but he needed help. And I said, well, we got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So off we went, filed our LLC, and got the contracts up and running and started knocking doors.
So you left a good paying job
I did.
to start from scratch on your own, which, by the way, that's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it.
So you had a wife and kid at home at the time?
Wife and kid at home at the time.
So talk to me about how that conversation went when you had, because you were probably doing pretty well financially.
Correct.
And you're just I'm letting it all go and starting over.
A lot of fear.
Yeah.
A lot of fear. And not just from the wife at the time, but from family as well. I can honestly say I don't think my mom and dad were too excited. My dad definitely wasn't. My dad worked at Sysco as well, graveyard shift.
Yeah.
So he was definitely sad to see me go from the same corporation that had, paid our family's way.
Yeah.
My entire life. So yeah, I would say fear, but it's paralyzing to an extent.
Okay.
But you got to overcome that.
Gotcha.
And I had to see the bigger picture, which was I got to create something for myself and give myself that opportunity. So, yeah, man, turned in the 2-week notice and, was met with some resistance for sure. But I had to chase my dream. It's not about the people around us,
That's right.
And give my family even better. When you're up against that fear, you've experienced this.
Oh, yeah.
You got one option, and that's to keep providing. And in order to do that, you have to chase that success.
Fear has been a wonderful tool for my family because for us, it's not something that we run from. It's something we kind of run towards.
Absolutely.
And it's scary, but I think, there was in the 6th Rocky installment, he was talking about fear a lot and how, if you're not if you're not fearful of stuff, your defenses aren't up. You're not alert.
Right.
You're too comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think being uncomfortable is an awesome thing.
Absolutely.
As long as you take advantage of that being uncomfortable. So yeah, I got very uncomfortable, ran towards that fear, and left Sysco. Hands down, one of the best decisions I've ever made was betting on me.
Absolutely. Come on. Well, so talk to me about how that conversation, like my wife has been more than unbelievable with me, and half the stuff we've done, the people that we were involved with at the time when we said, hey, we're going to do this, a lot of times they were like, you guys are crazy, including building this room right here. People made fun of me, and they still make fun of me for it in some of our old circles. And this room and this podcast, as I was telling you before, has been probably the most powerful tool that we've ever had to build other aspects of life and business and relationships. So talk to me about how you had that conversation, because there's a lot of people out there right now that are especially being right at the turn of the year where everybody's like, they want change, they want growth, and they're
people are more open to make those moves right now.
No,
right?
Absolutely.
So tell me how you were able to get your family on board with it, because you got to have that. You got to have the support at home.
You do got to have the support, and you've got to keep in mind that until you've done something, they're not really going to believe you can do it. So you've definitely got to show the enthusiasm. Do your homework, come with a plan, have an action plan.
It's a presentation.
Yeah. You can't just say, hey, this is what I want to do and not know how you're going to do it. It's just not going to work. They're definitely not going to be on your side. So yeah, definitely had a really good action plan. Had contingencies in place for the finance side of things, did have some money saved that gave us a slight nest egg to really make some things happen before we'd be in trouble.
Gotcha.
So my advice would be action plan, have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. You can't just have a plan A. Something's going to go wrong. You got to know how you're going to pivot, have your family know how you're going to pivot, and then just go chase that dream.
Love it. So got into the roofing business. You're obviously not roofing right now, so we got more to tell, right? So, and folks, check it out. I know you guys are already glued to the whatever device you are hanging out with us today on. Check it out. If you guys want to follow him on Instagram, you can find him at Refined Mortgage Closer, and on Facebook, where he's absolutely killing it. Jeff.Suter.94.
Yes, sir.
Right, and of course, if you want to check them out online with what they're doing with their team, refined at cmgfi.com. Right.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
We're hanging with Jeff Suter. Jeff, go on, buddy.
Yeah. So dove into the to the roofing business, insurance restoration business, and when you're first getting started, you're not profitable. You're hoping to get profitable, but you're not profitable.
If you can do it first year in a startup, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. So how are you going to generate business? And for us, that was door knocking. If the wind blew 30 miles per hour, that was an opportunity. If we had thunderstorms, leaking roofs, that's an opportunity. If it hails, that's an opportunity. But we had to be ready for that opportunity and have the fortitude to go knock doors, be willing to be told no.
Yeah.
In today's world, nobody wants to be I don't know that anybody ever wants to hear no, but you got to get comfortable with no. And when you knock doors, let me tell you, you're going to be told no, and a lot more than no.
What was the craziest thing that somebody ever did when, did you ever get chased off a lawn or anything like that? Because I door knocked too for a while, and I got some horror stories, man.
Man, the horror stories. I would say one of the it wasn't a bad. It was actually very welcoming to an extent. We had a family invite us in, and I can't remember where they were from, but they weren't from here. They were from overseas somewhere, and the culture is just different. The way they eat's different, what they eat's different, and how they welcome you into their home is different.
Gotcha.
I'm not a real, I keep it simple with my food. Grilled chicken's good.
Yeah.
Nice filet mignon's good.
Yeah.
Baked potatoes good. But when we start handing me stuff, to eat out of a hand, and I can't pronounce what it is, I get a little concerned.
Out of somebody else's hand.
The
lady did that in The Wedding Singer, or when she gave him the meatball. You remember that?
Right. It's very, very similar, but in a home where I've never met the family.
Holy cow.
Right. And I had a sales rep with me too. It was almost a training type day. And
Holy
here
cow.
we are being invited in, and they're feeding us out of their hand. And
hold on, I've never used this before.
Nope.
There we go.
Nope.
All right, go ahead.
Actually, now that I think about it, it was my middle brother that was in training that day. And I remember leaving the house and getting about a quarter mile down the road. And he was like, will you please pull over so he could vomit? Because he ate it. I was nope.
Yeah.
I was like, no. But that's probably one of the strangest moments that I can recall that wasn't just a hard no.
Wow.
Or getting cussed up and down the road. Or I did have one guy pull a gun on me one time, but that was, that was after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
We had already built the relationship. We had already put the roof on.
Oh, wow.
And he just didn't want to pay.
Yeah.
People take possession of their money.
Yeah.
And they want a good job done. And then once it's done, everybody we don't all work the same when it comes to paying our bills.
Yep.
And when I went knocking on the door to recoup our loss, it did not go as planned. I did not get my money.
Gotcha.
Let's just say that. That's probably my two craziest that come straight to mind.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Those are good ones. I think my favorite one was I went to a couple had reached out, never met them before, about a health insurance plan. It was like when I first started. It was one of my very first like appointments, because back then it was door to door and local.
Right.
And I programmed it into the GPS, and of course it's like an hour away, so that was awesome. And then I take off, and then I get there, and it's one of these places where it was a double wide. It was a trailer, but it was so far off the grid that like their address like wasn't even like GPS wouldn't even find it, right? So when I finally figured out where they were, I wasn't happy about it. And then when I knocked on the door, I swear this is a health insurance, like, so it'd be like life. If you wouldn't open the door when the life insurance people come to take your vitals and everything with cigarette smoke just pouring out, which is what happened. She opened the door, and I mean, it was like a cloud of smoke just took me over. I walk inside, the whole house, I thought the house was on fire.
Oh no.
And the husband had a cigarette in his hand and one in his ear, and a scar. He wore no shirt, and a fresh scar all the way down his chest, and an oxygen tank in his hand with cigarettes, by the way. Like, I mean, that was what I was met with over for a health insurance appointment.
They didn't know why you were there.
And of course their dog is all over my leg the whole time we were there. Like, it sucks. So I remember when I left that day, I called my wife on the way home, and I was like, there's something better out there.
This ain't gonna work.
We got to figure out a better way. All right, so enough about that. So all right, so you guys were door knocking, building your business. What next?
Yeah, so we built it up. We ended up having at any given time anywhere between 10 and 15 sales reps within. Probably took us about 18 months to get to that point.
That's not bad. That's good.
Yeah. No, we flew through it. We were definitely profitable in our first year.
Congratulations.
We were hitting home runs. A lot of roofs, hundreds upon hundreds of roofs. So ended up growing our sales team substantially, making it a corporation rather than an LLC.
Smart.
And really took it places. We ended up becoming the Better Living sunroom dealership of Middle Tennessee. Okay. So we ended up doing hundreds of sunrooms throughout the state.
Okay.
A lot of patio covers as well.
So you guys got good at something really, really, really specific. That's
did.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And it's homes are built with covered back porches today. I mean, that's how popular they have become.
Yep.
But prior to that, I mean, we were slinging them things up left and right. Had a good time with that. That's a dream for some people, right? So when that finished product comes out and they get to spend that family time on that back porch, it's unbelievable feeling. A lot more so than putting a roof on a home.
Absolutely.
It's two complete different things. But, never left the state. We kept it all in state. We didn't, quote unquote, storm chase like a lot of insurance restoration companies do.
Gotcha.
And we grew it to about $3 million a year.
Man, that's
the last
awesome.
Couple of years. Yeah. Thousands of roofs. I mean, boxes on boxes on boxes of contracts that I have yet to burn. Autumn's not too happy about that. We'd probably like to get that stuff out of the garage.
Absolutely.
What do we need it for, right?
That's right.
A good bonfire.
That's right. That's right. All right. So go on. So obviously you're not roofing anymore.
Yeah. So hit the end of a road with that.
Okay.
Not because we weren't making good money, but I just was ready for a change ultimately. Shane, my business partner at the time, loved it, wanted to remain in it. So he is still rocking and rolling and doing a phenomenal job with the business. He's still building sunrooms, still putting on roofs, doing a really good job with it. And I just walked away cold turkey.
Gotcha.
It was another cold turkey gut punch for the family of.
Well, you were finished. You didn't quit. You were finished.
Correct. Yeah. It goes back to like you making the call to the wife saying there's got to be something better.
Yeah.
I didn't want to climb any more roofs. It's dangerous. I applaud the people that do it. not really what I wanted to keep doing and what I wanted for my life. I wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
So made the ultimate decision to hit the reset button again, and was blessed with an opportunity. Lady at the gym. If I can stress anything, be open.
That's right.
Meet people, shake hands, smile. If you're passing somebody, smile, make eye contact. Just be a genuine person full of gratitude, and you'll be shocked the opportunities that will come your way, which is how I landed in the mortgage business. A lady named Nancy approached me at Murfreesboro Athletic Club in Murfreesboro and said, "Hey, what do you think about the mortgage business?" I said, "Oh, Nancy, I don't know the first thing about the mortgage business."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Well, I don't have any kids to leave mine to. How you feel about taking over my mortgage business?"
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, "Well, what's it take? What's the turnaround time on this? Because I got to get something going fast."
Yeah.
So long story short, it's about 20 hours of schooling. You still got to pass the national exam after that, which I will say I failed the first 2 times.
Do you have to wait in between?
You do, that was the hard and the stressful part. Because keep in mind, I've walked away.
Yeah.
From my business, so there's no money coming in. I've got what I've got, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I failed it the first time, 30-day wait time. Fell it the second time, 30-day wait time.
That's right. They've made it a little better, at least in the insurance portion here since then, because I too failed mine twice.
I fell it a third time at 6 months.
Oh no!
So now my butt cheeks are tight.
Yep.
Like legit concerned, not for everything. And so the pressure was on, and I knew I was like, hey, I've got to perform this go around. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I have to go in there and, God willing, pass this exam. And that's what happened. And I can remember when you hit are you sure you want to submit this exam? Yes. And then I think they made me type in yes to confirm. And then it instantly gives you pass or fail.
That's right.
And when it came past, I think I just put my head down on that desk and shed a few tears of just like, thank you, Lord. That weight has been lifted. Now I can get to work.
That's right.
And I didn't get to go straight to work, long story short. She was in Europe, traveling, doing some traveling, which is amazing, for a couple weeks. And then she came back from Europe for a couple days and left for a cruise to Alaska for a couple weeks. So it was about a 4 or 5 week lag time of me passing and her being back in the States with her feet planted and ready to get back to work. And I'll never forget it. She got back on a Tuesday, and I text her, I got to get to work. Like your boy's going broke over here, not working. She said, can you meet me at the office? I'm meeting with the attorney Thursday. Can you meet me at the office Friday morning, 9 a.m.? Absolutely.
Right on.
Time to work. Get there. She sits me down. Eye contact. I could tell something was off. I could tell there was just something coming, and she hit me with it. Hey, met with the attorney, and she said, it's not going to work right now. I'm just not, he's not giving me the information I wanted to hear. I can't give you my business, nor can I keep you on as an employee. So I was back at square one, leaving that building. No job, no mortgage career, and a lot of fear. We're back to the place of fear. Yeah. And I can remember sulking a little bit that Friday night and that Saturday, but God works in crazy ways. Woke up that Sunday morning and it hit me. I had bought a boat about 5-6 years prior with $2,500. $25,000 boat. I had went on a Saturday to meet the man. His name's Kevin Kennerson. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful man. Met him on a Saturday, test drove the boat, loved it. I said, I've got $2,500 on me. Will you hold the boat until Monday so I can get financing? And after we talked for a few minutes, he said, you're going home with the boat today. I'm going to take your $2,500 and you just pay me as you see fit until we're paid in full. Wow. And so I built a relationship with him over the next 12 to 18 months as I paid for that boat in full. And so going back to that Sunday, no job, it hit me. Kevin was in the mortgage business.
Gotcha.
And owned his own mortgage business. So I called Kevin. I said, man, I know it's been a while since we've talked, but this is my story. I need a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not walking away from this. I'm here for a reason. Nancy led me to this for a reason. What do you got? And he said, when do you want to start? And so I showed up that Tuesday and for their team sales meeting and never walked away. I've been in it ever since.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, a lot of people would find anger in that Nancy situation.
Sure.
Right? Like you've walked away from your business, you've walked away from your income for what seemed like a too good to be true opportunity. But I owe her a lot of gratitude for at least getting me into the business. So yeah.
Dude, well that's what a journey. And over time, like what was the time span again on that? From the time that you started, you left Belmont to the time that you got into the joined that team on that Tuesday. How many years was that?
So I joined that team in January of 18. Left Belmont in 98.
Wow. So about 20 years.
About 20 years.
If my math serves correct. It doesn't always.
Nor does mine, and I should be good with numbers.
Well, dude, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Congratulations. What a story. That's the cool thing about what we do here, man. It's like a lot of times when you might go on things like this, you're telling all the things that are happening today. And for me, it's like I'm fascinated with the history. All history is his story, right? So
agreed.
I'm fascinated with the history. So, all right. Well, I got some questions for you. You ready?
Man, let's go.
Let's do this. At what point in time, like the one thing I see you guys, folks, again, if you're not keeping up with them on social, like one of my favorite things I see all the time is you in the car with your daughters.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Check them out, facebook.com /jeff.suter.94 on Facebook, and at Instagram at Refined Mortgage Closer. When did you realize how important it was to surround yourself with like awesome people?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. I'm going to say take me back to high school at Hume-Fogg.
Okay.
It's one of the top public schools in the nation. It's an academic high school. And we were all bussed in from all over Nashville, which was a huge blessing, right? Because typically you go to the school where you're quote unquote zoned.
Yep.
So I was able to meet people from all over the mid-state, but not just normal people. There were people that were chasing dreams. They wanted to excel, go to places like Yale and Harvard, which a lot did.
Yeah.
And so it put me in a room and in classrooms with people a lot smarter than myself. And while I didn't chase the same dreams as them, it's still a huge motivating factor because you don't want to be the one guy that gets left behind.
That's right.
You don't want to be the one that's flunking out. And so, yeah, it was huge for me to be surrounded by people, a lot smarter and better than me. Mm-hmm. It's motivating if you allow it to be.
My dad always said when he was in bands and stuff, he said my band was always good because I'm good and I was the worst person in the band.
There you go.
That always stuck with me, right?
There you go.
And you're obviously applying that with your team and everything else, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right. So talking about, man, like with the industry alone, my wife and I have some investment properties, and we have a little bit of fun in the world of real estate. I remember, there's a few things that you encounter in life when you start adulting, right? And that's not taught in school. And your parents' journey doing it was different because the world has changed so much in the 20 years in the gaps between
absolutely
when they did it and when you're doing it. So, what advice would you give for some first-time home buyers, especially in the world we live in today?
Yeah, just start. You've really got to commit. You can't. It goes back to the fear. It's when it comes to the home buying process, it paralyzes so many people. They're scared of the word no. They're scared of that failure. Whether it's bad credit, whether it's no money saved, all them things we can overcome. Bad credit is fixable.
Wouldn't you want to know what it is you got to overcome anyways, right?
Exactly, which is why you just have to start, right? It's you can't continue to sit on the sidelines and just assume you'll never own a home.
Right.
It's be the first person in your family to ever own a home, you know? And if you've been raised in with a life where your family owned homes, then follow that suit.
Gotcha.
It's just getting started.
Gotcha. When what are some like, I can remember, my wife and I were older than most when we purchased our first home for a lot of different reasons. And, but like, of course, when you do, we were shopping for, it's hard to find a spot here. Sometimes it can be hard to find a spot, especially the spot you want. And we were lucky because the place, the first home that we bought, we'd actually rented it before, and we rented it from my buddy Marcus Whitney, who owns one of the owners of the Nashville Soccer Club.
Nice.
We rented it from his parents who lived next door. So we became friends, and then we loved them as neighbors, and they liked my kid and my wife, so they let me buy the house from them when we did that. So that was pretty cool. But I do know that when we were out shopping, we were big dreamers. We were looking in neighborhoods that we were going to be told no 100% on anything we went to get.
100%.
Right. So going back and forth from what they want versus what maybe they should, the house you get today doesn't have to be the house that you want for later. Right. So.
Yeah, no, it's a huge investment opportunity. I always say it's the best savings account a man can have, or a woman. If you think about it, when you're renting, you look at it as a bill. Mm-hmm. It's rent, right? That money's gone. Mm-hmm. When you own your own home, yes, you're paying that quote-unquote mortgage, but it's going towards something.
That's right.
It's something you own. It's something you can resell. It's something that goes up in value. So while your balance owed is going down and your value is going up, you've got a nest egg that's just constantly growing, which is why real estate is probably the number one investment in the world. It's because it's continually growing. So yeah, I mean, your first home definitely doesn't have to be your final resting stop. View it as your first investment.
And you can do a lot of things with lines of credit on your equity in your home and everything else, right? And I think that was the biggest game changer for my wife and I in learning about home equity lines of credit and how to leverage our mortgage for a lot of different things. And we've been able to do a lot with the equity that we had in our properties. A lot.
I feel like you need to hear about the number one mortgage product I've ever seen.
I think I do. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we've got a product. It's called All-in-One, which is called an All-in-One because it is a first lien HELOC.
Gotcha.
So you never lose access to your equity. You never have to cash out, refinance again. It's the only mortgage in America that pays principal first, interest second.
That's huge.
Huge.
We're going to need to talk about that.
Yes, sir. Average payoff 8.72 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. It's hands down best mortgage product I've ever seen. I'm in it personally, obviously. Mm-hmm. And a matter of fact, on the way down here, I called the wife and said, hey, how much do we have on our line of credit?
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot with that. You can start a business with that. You can invest that. You can pay debt off with that.
You don't pay taxes on that line of credit either, do you?
No, I mean, dude, there's benefits all over the place.
Absolutely.
Benefits all over the place. So there's a lot of onlys with this product, which is why I say it's the best mortgage I've ever seen. I can't say that it's the best everybody's ever seen, but once you learn it, hands down, best mortgage you've ever seen.
I think you just, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I was intimidated by the whole real estate industry because I didn't know anything about it for a long time. But once we did learn it, it was like learning a new language, and that new language was like a very powerful tool. I was training some teammates yesterday, and we were talking about he was hand calculating a bunch of things off of basically this really, really finely tuned, really in-depth spreadsheet that we had already made and gave to him to forecast properly and for revenues and investments and everything else. And this guy's doing it by hand, and I was like, dude, I feel like if I was watching my handyman like screw in a screwdriver with his hand with the drill sitting right next to him. Yeah. Like you got to learn this stuff.
You do. It's there is a lot to it, and it can come with anxiety. But man, it's just, again, number one investment opportunity in the world, in my opinion. I'm sure you would agree.
Agreed.
I mean, find me a millionaire that don't own real estate. Find me a billionaire that don't own real estate and lots of it. So it's a huge starting point.
And there's a lot of tax benefits for playing in that space.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot of the tax codes today were for that purpose, for those purposes, right?
Yeah, I mean, Trump.
That's right.
Owns a lot of real estate.
Yes, he does.
And the whole debacle with his tax returns, or how much has he paid?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot.
That's right. You can, and Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about that.
Yeah.
A lot about that. As a matter of fact, Rich Dad Poor Dad is what got us. I was like, he made it sound so simple. We can learn that. We can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this. All right. So what else? What else do you think separates you from other lenders?
I would say our core values.
Okay.
Easily.
The customer experience?
The customer experience, yeah. A huge thing for us is, number one, we're going to represent what winning looks like at all times.
That's what I'm talking about.
A lot of people don't understand what that means, right?
Do tell.
To me, it means whether you're winning or losing, you're still going to represent what a winner looks like. You can have a bad day, but professional athlete, for example.
That's right.
Let's go NBA. A lot of them show up in suits. Mm-hmm. Whether they win or lose, what are they leaving in?
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're still representing what a winner looks like.
That's right.
And I try to carry that with me everywhere I go. You go to the airport, I'm probably going to represent what winning looks like.
Attaboy.
I'm not going to be in my jammas.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to happen. Number two, we make no excuses.
Okay.
We're always going to be thumb pointers. Got to take responsibility, whether it's our fault or not our fault. And I think that goes a long way in the real estate world, because a lot of mistakes are made. Whether it be on the realtor side, the title side, the home. I mean, there's so many factors that come into that. But at the end of the day, what could we have done better?
Gotcha.
Right. And then we have fun.
There you go.
We're going to have fun, right? It's potentially the biggest investment you'll ever make in your life.
It's a happy day, man, when you're closing on it.
It is, but man, the 30 days between starting and ending can be high anxiety, high stress.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do. There's a lot to get done. And if you don't have people that are smiling, full of gratitude, willing to help, willing to communicate at all cost, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And it should be a happy time.
That's right.
I heard a stat, it's been a few years ago, that home buying process was the third most stressful thing you could go through behind death and divorce.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a huge stat.
Yes, it is.
And I don't say that to scare people into starting that process. I say that to say, if you have the right people doing it with you, it will be one of the most phenomenal experiences you've ever went through.
That's right.
Because it is, like you said, a happy, happy, happy day.
It is.
Yeah.
I think what makes it so stressful is there's a lot of documentation, documents, finances, and just a lot of paperwork that has to be collected for the underwriting portion of that. And I think, like, for us, like, we didn't know where half of that stuff even was. And that was the hardest thing. It was like, I don't even know where to look for that. You know what I'm saying? So when we bought our first one, for me, that was probably the most stressful part, because once you get into that process, you kind of know that it's going to happen. It's just based on a lot of different things at that point.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of the conversation when we first get started is, hey, and technology helps with that now too. I mean, things are so accessible today, whether it be pay stubs or bank statements. Most employers today have apps where you can download your pay stubs, and obviously online banking for bank accounts. So it's gotten a lot easier, but it is overwhelming, to say the least. You're like, oh my gosh, you need all of that? Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
That's right.
I need all of that.
And it's not going to be the only one you ever buy. So go on ahead and put that stuff in a spot, because you're going to need it again.
That's right. That's right. There's always going to be number 2, and hopefully number 3 and 4, and so on and so on. And lastly, everyone matters all the time. I don't want to forget that one.
Yeah.
We tackle every day full of gratitude, and everyone has to matter all the time. You know, if you were buying a home, my first question is, who's your agent? I need to make contact with the agent. We need to become friends. We need to hang out. Like, that agent matters. Who's the agent on the home you want to buy? I need to know them too. Like, they need to know this is going to be smooth. Who's your insurance guy? They matter too. Every step of the way, everyone matters all the time.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's our core values. And I can't say every company has core values.
The good ones do.
The good ones do.
The good ones do.
You got that right.
My buddy Brad has his core values in his conference room. There's like 12 of them, I think, but they're all number one.
I love it.
All of them have number one next to them.
I love it.
And of course, he asks everybody when they walk in, you know why it does this? Because they all matter the same. They're all number one.
Yeah.
They're all as equally as important, right? So we had talked before too. You are, I wanted to let everybody know you're doing the 75 hard, right?
75 hard.
75 hard. So as a matter of fact, when this episode airs, you're probably going to be getting close to the finish line, if not already done, right? So just talk to me a little bit. Why did you decide to do that? And what are you looking to get out of it?
Yeah, so what I was looking to get out of it is just really kick this year off as mentally strong as possible, chasing that being refined. So no drinking, which means I'm going to be clear-headed. I'm not a huge drinker anyways, but if I am to drink, it's alcohol. It's poison. My diet's cleaned up. I've committed to a meal plan, no cheap bites, no cheap meals. So my gut health is getting better. My clarity, again, gets better. And then, of course, 2 workouts a day. I mean, man, I was dragging butt yesterday morning.
Yeah.
I mean, dragging butt. And I had every excuse, under the sun to say, I'm skipping the gym today. But due to 75 hard, not wanting to fail, I got that workout in, high energy the rest of the day.
That's right.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much that can do for our minds and for our bodies.
Yeah.
Just really started it to not be the guy that starts 2023 full head of steam with all these goals that just in 2 weeks is like, yeah, I forgot about that. I wanted to really know that for the first 75 days, when I make it 75 days, I know my 2023 is going to be the best year ever because I've started it as good as one could start it.
And folks, be careful when you use that word commitment, because you got to truly do what you say you're going to do, which I think that's the easiest way to define commitment, is just doing what you said you're going to do. But you have to finish.
That's it.
You have to finish.
Yeah.
And I know that's been after, last year when my wife and I sat down, even with our son, he's a part of our conversations now, we talked about there's a lot of things that I think that we could dial in better. And, sometimes you finish a race on your and you just collapse at the end. It don't have to be that way.
Right.
It don't have to be that way. So that's what we're focusing on now, is finishing stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because finishing's never been an issue for us, but we're going to finish stronger for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it.
So talk to me a little bit more about you're almost, it's almost like you're redefining what refine means for yourself each and every single year, right? It has to grow. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. No. So I think I invest in myself constantly. Spend lots of money on that.
You read a lot of books?
Read a lot of books. Currently reading Atomic Habits.
Okay. Let me ask you, what's the book that has made the biggest impact on you?
Probably Not a Fan, which is a faith-based book. It really dives into not just being a fan of Christ, really pursuing him with pursuit. Yeah.
That's good.
Because it's very easy to just be a fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'd say that book's probably I've read it 2 or 3 times. It's the one I've handed out the most. Just a phenomenal read. It's an easy read. It really just dumbs down faith. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So, what did you learn on Suck Day when going through the Unleash the Leader Within?
Let me tell y'all a little something about Suck Day.
Bring it.
It sucked.
So it was as advertised.
It was as advertised. Yeah. I mean, think Green Beret, Navy SEAL type stuff. Probably not as grueling. It's only one day versus, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I could, do what them guys do. Them are special human beings. But for one day, I got to endure it. It started about 6 a.m., ended about 1 a.m. All outside, 40 degrees, soaking wet, in and out of creeks, burpees, bear crawling in the mud. I mean, it's just a lot of suck. I would say what I learned the most is that I'm capable of more than I would ever give myself credit for. Had I not had a group of brothers around me in that moment, I'd quit all day, every day. But when you don't want to let the people around you down, you keep pushing through. You just keep moving forward. And it's been a huge mental change for me. I think I'll credit that for being a huge part of why I was able to say I'm a January 1, 75 hard. I'm not waiting till the 2nd, not waiting till the 3rd. Like, we're diving in, we're going to do this, and I'm fully capable.
Well, the first day is the hardest on a program like that, especially when it follows New Year's Eve.
Especially. And so originally I had it set for January 2nd, and I was like, that's not what a winner would do.
Ooh.
A winner would not make excuses. He's just going to start.
Yeah.
So come midnight, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's morning, it was like, all right, no more alcohol, and the Doritos can't come over this way. It's go time.
I do love some Doritos.
Man,
dude, there's a brand of chip that my wife found that, because we eat real clean. She's like Yoda when it comes to all the chemicals and preservatives and seed oils and all those things. I've learned so much from her. And that's even how I figured out that fasting for me was what makes me feel the best and function the best and all that stuff, because I eat once a day. It's for dinner, right?
I love it.
That's it. But I do drink a lot of liquids, as we were talking about before. Man, like when like there's a brand of chip called Late July. Dude, I swear it's better than Doritos.
Really?
They have all that. So I've had 3 of the flavors. The Mexican street corn's really good. But like, dude, the ranch and the nacho cheese, and they have a little bit of seed oil, but like they're way cleaner than anything else. Dude, they're phenomenal. They're better than Doritos. They have more flavor to them.
So where can you find these anywhere?
So they have they'll have limited selection at like your basic grocery stores, but like your I think Amazon is where I get them, and I get them in bulk, dude, like 6 bags at a time, because if we eat Mexican or something like that, I'll have those because it's corn based, and they're phenomenal. Everybody that comes over to the house, I'm like, try one of those. They're always like, what is that? They just, the bottom of the Dorito bag where it has all the powder on it is the best part. Well, it's like the whole bag.
I love it.
Is that way? I'm getting
late July.
I'm getting hungry. Late July.
Yeah.
I
You're ready for dinner.
I know. We got a long way to go. So, well, like you've done a phenomenal job of, you got to have a foundation to build up on, right? You have to be, and that foundation has to be strong, like super strong. And if you want to know where to look to build a foundation like that, you look first in your faith and second in your family. And I think you've done a phenomenal job with that. So talk to me about like one of the hardest things to do as a man in business with a little bit of attitude and confidence and everything else is, I had a hard time not feeling weak when I need my family to support me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I felt weak when leaning on faith from time to time. Little did I know that, that's all it takes.
Absolutely.
Is just to lean on those things. So how have you been able to, but it's a family decision, right?
Right. Yeah. So I'll walk you guys through something we do every night as a family. Ryan Stuhlman taught me this. He calls it family huddle. And it's one of the best things I've ever incorporated into our lives as a family. So we come together every night. We go youngest to oldest. So my youngest, my 8-year-old Emma, will tell us one thing she's grateful for, and one thing she wants to pray for. And then the next one, Addi, what are you grateful for? What do you want to pray for? And then Autumn, and then myself. Does a few things. One, it gets you insight. It kind of gives you insight into what your kids are going through, good and bad.
Absolutely.
Because what happens when you ask them, how was your day? Good.
That's it.
What y'all do today? Nothing.
Yeah.
You get one-word answers from start to finish. So this really opens the door to that. But twofold, if you're a man who struggles really, I don't want to say leading the household, but just might consider yourself not good in prayer, might be embarrassed to pray in front of your family or something like that. I struggled with that. Was my struggle was my prayer life's good, but I'm not one to just step up and pray over someone or with someone. I'm being hand-delivered a prayer. My kids are telling me what they want to pray about. My wife's telling me what she wants to pray about. I've told them what I want to pray about.
That's right.
And then I pray over them. So it's really given us a good foundation of being a family unit, but also experiencing that family prayer.
That's fantastic.
It's been amazing.
It's fantastic. It also is a form of communication.
Absolutely.
I still have yet. I've been looking really hard at all of mankind's history. I haven't found one problem where we look back, we're like, that problem happened because they communicated too well.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That gets one too.
Yeah.
And it's also very important, especially leading a family, that you give back, right? So talk to me about here at Team Hyder, we have our month of hope. It's every November. We pick somebody out we want to do something great for that needs us, and we figure out what that is, and we do it. It's a different mission every single year. In 2022, we worked with Camp Horizon, which is phenomenal what they do for. It's a camp for, quite frankly, with kids that have cancer, and it's a great thing that they do, and they need a lot of resources, and that's a way that you can give some insight into their mission and their organization. Advertise for it, basically just let people know they're there and that they need stuff, right? So what are you guys into?
Yeah, so we actually started this year supporting a foundation called Live to Be and Music with a Mission. It's headed by Jared Blake, country music, I don't want to call him country, music artist.
There you go.
And Big Vinny, also music artist.
Okay.
And what they do is they go into the schools. Jared Blake, for those that don't know who he is, he's the only person to ever be on The Voice 2 times. But he was on the very first season of The Voice. And when they announced him, he was not prepared for what was to come. They announced him as recovering drug addict.
Gotcha.
Which was a fact. He just wasn't prepared for that. And he definitely wasn't prepared for what was going to come from that, which was an outcry of how'd you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you do it?
Gotcha.
A lot of kids, hitting him up in Twitter.
Wow.
My parents, my parents, my parents. So it was taken up to hear him say it 4 or 5 hours a day of his day trying to respond to all these people.
Yeah.
And so it hit him. I've got to find a way to give back. I've got to find a way to help these kids know that this doesn't have to be their circumstances. They can still accomplish whatever they want to in life. So his mission became going into schools and performing and telling his story. Vinny's story is a little bit different. He was beat. He was not treated well, things like that. So we've got 2 different stories now that can go to schools,
that's awesome.
Perform their music, the smoke, the lighting, the stars, they've got the blue check marks. Like these people are, it's not 50 Cent coming in, but it's heavy hitters.
That's right.
And they get a chance to play music and tell their story.
It's awesome.
But that costs money, especially when you're taking time away from where you could be making millions.
That's right.
To give back. So we support them every month. That's mainly where our money goes when it comes to charity, is because I know they're just getting off the ground. They've went into about 3,000 schools across the country.
I'd like to get them in to talk about it.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, it'll be 2 stories that it'll bring tears to your eyes, man. It's what the work they're doing is amazing. It'll start back up in March. We do every Friday night a concert series at the Fountains of Gateway in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Not only do they perform a little bit, they also bring in aspiring music artists with the goal of giving the kids somewhere safe to hang.
Dude, I got to bring them in and talk about this.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then secondly, I'm getting more involved as of last week with Operation Light Shine, which
yeah.
is huge right now, the sex trafficking and the
Dude,
child exploitation.
Yeah, we're all over it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I met with Matt Murphy, the CEO, last week, and getting more involved with that. So
They're-
them are going to be our two heavy hitters.
We're right at the turn of the year. I guess it was in December. We got hit up with some of our well-to-do friends, and they were, you guys got to get them in. You got to get them in. You got to get them in. You got to get them in. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get them in to hear about that as well. Man, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. They're doing, man. It's to hear Matt's story.
Yeah.
Again, another great story. It'll blow you away. But the
Absolutely.
work they're doing is unreal, and it's so needed.
Absolutely.
So needed. I think the stat he gave me last week, America spends, I want to say it was $40 billion on the drug war.
Mm-hmm.
We spend $200 million on sex trafficking, human trafficking, and child exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
Huge gap.
Mm-hmm.
Huge gap.
And for what I've learned, Franklin, Tennessee is a hot spot for that.
It's more common than we are told.
That's right. Everything is right by an interstate, man.
Yes, sir.
All those big stores and everything are right by an interstate.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Well, without going down that rabbit hole, but it's definitely they do need help, man. We got to support.
Yeah, got to give back.
You got to give back. All right, so you guys have been killing it year over year. The industry is always changing, especially like we hadn't seen anything like this in a minute. But you guys ain't slowing down. You just change. All you do is just change your strategy a little bit to adapt to what the market does, because you don't control the market, do you?
We do not.
All right. So what's 2023 got in order for you guys?
We're gonna grow. We're gonna make people's dreams come true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna continue to spread the gospel and the all-in-one loan like I did with you guys, because I truly do believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge opportunity for people to give their money legs for them rather than the bank money and legs. Your money sitting in a checking account, who's it working for?
Not me.
Not you. With the all-in-one, it's working for you. So I'm going to continue to preach that, share that, and ultimately, man, make dreams come true.
Is it safe to say, because I know my wife and I have refied and changed things so many times, because again, like, products come and go based on changes in the market and all those things, right? So how often should somebody, like, how often do the clients that do it better than everybody else, how often do you hear from them?
You know, I think the market definitely plays a part in that. Interest rates play a huge part in that. How quickly they can buy a bigger home plays a huge part in that. So, for example, if your first home you paid $250 for it, you know, the hopes, if you're chasing your dreams, would be within 3-4 years, you're now buying a $500,000 home.
That's right.
So I would say, you know, without the crazy market of COVID and historical low interest rates, I'd say every 2-3 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I take it you guys are, if somebody wanted to get into the mortgage industry and talk to you, come hang out with you and see what's up, how would they do that?
Absolutely. Just reach out, hit me on the Facebook, Instagram, email. Any of the above would be more than welcome. I have mentored several young men. No women yet, oddly. I think women
Come on, ladies.
I know. Women thrive in this industry.
Come on. I know.
They
Absolutely.
do. They thrive.
Come on, ladies.
You know, so yeah, I'm always open to mentor, have somebody spend the day with me. Some of them even went to the gym with me.
That's awesome.
You know, I'll be like, what time do you want to get started? And if they say 6 a.m., I'm like, well, let's go to the gym.
That's right.
You know, but yeah, no, ultimately, doors always open. I view it as I want to give. I always want to be a giver.
So, folks, if you want to check them out online, refined at cmgfi.com, on Instagram, at Refined Mortgage Closer, on Facebook at jeff.suter.94. Is there anything else you'd like to leave everybody with before we bring this to a close?
Givers gain and be refined.
Givers gain. I'm going to write that down. Givers gain, be refined. We like to say around here a lot, like, take what you need, but take less than you give.
There you go. I love it.
Givers gain, be refined. From the man, Jeff Suter, the senior loan officer and team lead of the Refined Mortgage Group of CMG Home Loans. Dude, thanks so much for hanging with me, man. It's been cool.
Man, love seeing you. It's been awesome.
And then you guys you're gonna have a Refined podcast that's gonna be picking up later this year, right?
Yes, sir. Meeting with actually Jared Blake about that this week.
Perfect.
And hopefully getting it back off the ground, I'll say by February 1.
Dude, keep us in the loop, baby.
Absolutely.
Keep us in the loop.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks again, brother. It's been awesome. Great seeing you as always. Really appreciate you, man. Keep doing the good work.
Man, you as well, sir.
Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hit Streak. I am your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.